have in our presence the lady who really made it possible for us to be having this session in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I dare say, Indera, the workshop was not initially planned for St. Vincent, but she took us into consideration, thought of offering this sort of training for to us. She contacted us at CD, and from the get-go, she has been in contact with us quite frequently, ensuring that we do have the participants and that we are going to go through and execute the training here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Mrs. Indera Sagewan-Alli, I now invite you to address the workshop.
On behalf of the Caribbean Center for Competitiveness, it is my absolute pleasure to be here this morning. And more than that, it has been and continues to be a pleasure to work with the Center for Enterprise Development in co-hosting this workshop. This workshop it marks the third in a series. We have had it in Antigua Barbuda on last Thursday, Friday, Trinidad and Tobago Monday and Tuesday, and today we end off in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And it is not that St. Vincent and the Grenadines was not taken into consideration when I planned the workshop. It is that our usual model has been one where we have had it in one destination, one island, and we have sought to bring participants to that destination. And we simply chose a different model this time, where we felt that if we brought the trainer to the destinations instead, we would be able to make it available to a much larger number of people, because one of the goals of the center is to really develop capacity within the region. And so, because of the particular model we have used, at the end of this 6 days of training, we would have trained about 120 SMEs, public sector support agencies to the private sector, as well as academics, as opposed to if we had had it at one venue and we would have only been able to train 30. So that, this is why we are here. And why not St. Vincent and the Grenadines? You have a thriving SME sector. And I want to not spend a lot of time this morning, but to simply say that the imperative that the region faces with respect to diversification is here now. It is not something that we can any longer put off. Issues of special and differential treatment is now behind us. And what we are getting support in terms of donor support is to put us on a competitive and to put us on a footing where we can operate and participate in a very competitive environment. And the days of protection is really over. And that is one reality that we have to wake up to. That over 90% of the businesses in the region are SMEs is a second reality that really supports why this workshop. You are, those of you who are SMEs in the audience, you really are the job creators, the growth creators, the foreign exchange generators of the region. And supporting you in your growth is really critical to the growth, bringing back positive growth to the region. So this is why the center thought about a workshop like this, the internationalization of SMEs. And I will leave all the details of that for Leslie, and you're in very able hands in the person of Leslie Batchelor, who is the Director General of the Institute of Exports out of the United Kingdom, the partner institution to the CCfC in this particular initiative. So I won't, speak to that. But what we have here is we have a mix of participants. There are people who are working within an SME. There are institutions that support the SME, whether you're state-driven, whether you're more private sector-driven. So that it is important for you to engage with the material that will be brought to you over the next 2 days, that you engage with it and consider from your perspective. We also have, consultants in the audience. Consider how from your perspective, from where you sit, how can you take this information and use it in order to support SME development. That is what we ask you to do over the next 2 days. And some of the learnings that have in fact emerged over the delivery of this workshop today, I think it's important for me to just to tell you. We have learned that our SMEs do not value what they have. You do not value your product. And by undervaluing your product, you underprice your product. You undermarket your product. You underpresent your product. By us not valuing our rich history, culture, and natural endowment, we do not provide an enabling environment within which our SMEs, our indigenous products, can really be brought to the world from a first-class perspective. And I will use a simple example of doubles in Trinidad in order to illustrate. I mean, everybody knows doubles, right? Yes? You all a hard audience, you know. Anyway, you can't go to Trinidad and not have a doubles, right? It's in Vincent as well. But the only place you can have a real doubles though is in Trinidad. We can agree on that, right? Good. So, but you want that experience, and you land at Piarco International and say, first thing, and you know, people living abroad, residents, that's the first thing they want when they land in Piarco. And visitors who've been told about, so, okay, where is this doubles? This doubles. So you're walking through the airport. There is KFC. There is Subway, all in air-conditioned comfort with lovely seating arrangement. You can enjoy it. You have to walk out of the main terminal, cross the road, and go under this huge plastic shed to find the doubles vendor. The washroom facility is in a deplorable state, and we have a first-class, world-class airport. The poor doubles vendor has had to invest in a small washroom, sink in order to make her customer comfortable as best as she or he can. And then you buy the doubles and you sit down for this experience. Thank God it tastes so good, because the taste really makes up for the sweating. I mean, I had Leslie, sweating profusely while she tried very hard to enjoy this very, very delicious regional product. Something is wrong. Something is absolutely wrong. And that's just one example. Leslie will share with you other examples. We do not value what we have. We do not create the environment within which we say to the rest of the world, we have an international product that, we're proud of, and that when you come, you should want to pay more than $40 for a doubles, because it's more than just the taste, it's an experience, and we need to start creating that experience. So as you engage for the next 2 days, think about these things. We're small islands. The challenges with respect to scale, producing at scale, all of these are real issues. Obviously, we have to niche market. We have to niche market, and we have to niche market within the high ends of the market where people have money to spend. And let us not be afraid to position our breadfruit and our avocados. Leslie tells me that she doesn't know about seasonality. She gets avocados all year round. And we have the widest variety of avocados in this region, the widest range of sizes, the widest array of tastes. How much of it do we export? We don't even export it regionally where there is a large market. The last time I was here, and tell you an opportunity. I paid $2 EC for an avocado, which I'd pay $40 TT for in Trinidad. For your avocado when it comes here, if I'm lucky. Huh? I paid $2 EC, which is what? $4 TT, and I would pay for the same thing, and happily pay it in Trinidad, $40 TT. The opportunity is 5 million people in this region to export to. We buy, we eat. And we are not exploring, and there's so many of I'm taking away Leslie's time, so I must wrap up. But I want to wrap up by telling you a little bit about the Center for the Caribbean Center for Competitiveness, because it's important that you understand. This center is a university center. It is supported with donor funds from the IADB, CEDA, and DFID. but it's not an academic institution. So we're not about delivering first degrees and masters and doing pure research. We're about working directly with regional governments, regional private sector entities in order to find solutions to our real problems. The real problems that the private sector faces, how do we find the real solutions and how do we work with you in order to move you from where you are to that better place where you're growing and you are exporting internationally, etc. The core focus of the center is in two areas, the area of clustering and the area of global value chain analysis. Because these are two very important areas that are needed in order to build competitiveness strategies for developing the private sector. I have been in discussion and will continue to be in discussion with the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In fact, I meet with your Prime Minister and hopefully the Minister of Finance and certainly your Permanent Secretary, because I've started the discussion with them in terms of how the center, the Caribbean, is a regional center set up for this purpose, understanding the challenges that we face. How can we work together in order to move away from simply signing bilateral agreements? That is important. It gives us on paper access to markets. But if we don't prepare ourselves to access the market, all it is a benefit on paper. And we need to do all of the different parts of it simultaneously. We more than that need to understand there's no quick fix to the issue of development and growing the SME sector. It's not going to happen in 3 months. It's not going to happen in 1 year. It's not even going to happen in 5 years, which unfortunately is the time frame that governments in the region work with. It's not going to happen so quickly, but we have to be committed to the process. And we have to, while we are in power and while we have the power to do, we have to ensure that we move the process forward. And that should be the measuring rod. Not how much SMEs I necessarily have exported, but how many have I moved from where they were when I started to being in a better place as I prepare them for that. Okay, so that's the role that you have over the next 2 days. And again, in 2 days we cannot do everything. You really will be only skimming the surface. So understand that. Understand that. Make these 2 days count for you. Make it count for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and make it ensure that it was worthwhile, that we have brought an international institution, a cutting-edge institution, that the CCfC has really absorbed a lot of the cost of this, because what you are what we've asked you to contribute is really more so that we're committed to a process where we believe that anything's for free are not valued. You know, unless you dip in your pocket and you put in a little investment, you don't value it. And that is why, because if we put the real value to it, we may not have had so many people. But that being said, we are in a fortunate position where the institution that I had has been able to offset most of the costs and partnering with CED, they have also come in as a significant part, finding the venue, advertising the workshop, bringing in the numbers, and they have done it so professionally that no amount of thanks that I can express today is sufficient to both Felix and particularly Keisha, who we have worked with directly. So they deserve a round of applause. So, that's about what I have to say. I say to you, enjoy, have a great workshop, and make it count. Thank you.